inequality seen in the new curriculum, the CBC. Kenya on the road to clean energy. Rights groups demand for the justice of for Sheila Lumumba. Welcome to the Daily Truth News Bulletin from wherever you are watching around the world. I am Diana Nyambura-Gikonyo, broadcasting live in Nairobi, Kenya. The broadcast begins now. The competency-based curriculum that was rolled out in 2017 with the promise of being learner-centered as opposed to the 844 system that was teacher-centered has received a lot of criticism, not just from the stakeholders but also from the parents, challenging facing the curriculum ranging from inequality to under-resourcing. Our reporter Eric Muthi explores this issue.
The competency-based curriculum has without a doubt shown the inequality that exists in the education system. This is especially seen through public schools where under-resourcing continues to be a major setback. Take an example, Mlandi Primary School that is located in Athi River, with the new curriculum requirement of being learner-centered and a class such as this, having over 50 students with only one teacher, makes it impossible for the teacher to cater all students as compared to private schools where the population is in each class is minimal. The new curriculum, with its approach of learner-centered that requires students to do assignments that require the parents to go back to their pockets, such assignments that include printing and research. This has made parents with a low income to struggle helping their students do their assignments.
With such grueling challenges, the stakeholders in the education system are starting to raise questions whether Kenya is ready to uptake the new curriculum in full capacity. Reporting live at Daily Truth, my name is Eric Muthi.
To get more insight on this issue, I am joined by a lecturer at the Daystar University, Dr. Susan Wandera. Thank you very much for joining me, Dr. Susan. So, my first question would be, some critics of the curriculum have questioned on the issue of assignment in this curriculum. An example is that they question whether the assignment is for the parent or for the child. Plus, some people say that the CBC is expensive. What is your take on that?
I think one fact which is out here is that there's still a lot of misconceptions about CBC. And I think the worst bit of the misconception is the assumption or the thinking that CBC requires the parent to be like the person who's doing most of the tasks. But really that is not what it is meant to be. You know, one advantage about the CBC is just the element of the parental involvement, that the parents are involved in the learning process of their children and they have an understanding of what is going on, what are they learning in school. And that's why you realize that there are quite a number of activities where the children are given to go and do when their parents are there. It is not the parent to do the task. So I think there's that misconception that the parents are feeling like they're doing the work for the children, which is not supposed to be the case. Parents are supposed to be empowered to have an understanding of what their children are learning in school so that they can also be part and parcel of giving the guidance in terms of getting the skills which the learners are supposed to have. Because remember, CBC is skill-based, competency-based. Some of the skills like wiping a table or removing a cup from a table, it is under the guidance and the supervision of the parent so that the parent is able to know, did the child make a bed, did they wipe the table? So it's important to first have that understanding. Now the other misconception is this one of it is very expensive. To some extent, yes, it may look like it is expensive. Remember, one of the competencies that CBC is actually building is the one of digital literacy. And I think digital literacy to these young people, they are already techno-savvy. So I think digital or technology element should not be an issue to our young children, because remember, they are more exposed to technology than their parents or even the older siblings. And therefore, when it comes to aligning what they are learning in school to the technology, it shouldn't be a challenge. The parent may have the kabambe, yes, but the child is having the knowledge which is beyond the kabambe. You understand? So the knowledge of the child in terms of what is it which they see, what are they watching, what are they seeing, what is the level of integrating their digital skills to the school situation. That is what is very important there. When it comes to the downloading or the uploading, that is the work of the school. It is the school which is supposed to help these learners to actually ensure that they have a conducive environment where the children can explore their digital and technological skills. The home is supposed to be like a subsidiary, really. So even if there's a kabambe at home, it should not be a hindrance to the child in terms of doing the work, because it is the school to give the conducive environment for the learning. The home is supposed to give the conducive environment for the guidance from a social perspective, remembering that the family is critical when it comes to the development of a learner, not necessarily that they have to have all the digital things. There are some homes with nothing, not even the kabambe. Does that mean that the child from that home cannot excel in CBC? No. Does it mean that we have to force people who cannot even have a kabambe to have a kabambe so that the child can learn? No. So it is the school to ensure that they offer a conducive environment where the children can explore their digital and technological skills for their own excellent performance in CBC. Yeah.
The curriculum. One of the major drawbacks that the CBC has is that the curriculum does not encourage competition as compared to the 844 system, putting it into mind that we live in a competitive world. Dr. Susan, do you agree with this statement?
But one thing is that 844 became so competitive that it promoted a lot of cheating, a lot of cutthroat, and a lot of lack of integrity in the field of examination. You will agree with me that in this country, when exams are being done for class 8 or form 4, it's like we are at war. All the policemen are in schools. And it is terrible. In fact, I think for me, the summative and that competition should just die and die completely. Okay, it may have some disadvantage, but I know it is going to leverage somehow on us understanding that it is not more about competition, but collaboration. You know, CBC is not competitive, but collaborative. We are trying to see how can we ensure that these young people can ensure that they collaborate in whatever skills they have, so that they can push one another to the next step. So that if, for example, you are good in music, how can you be forming a collabo with the people in the music so that you can excel in it? So it is not more of competition, it is more of collaboration. That is why actually one of the disadvantages of 844 is competition. It became so competitive that it is almost losing the meaning, especially when it comes to the upholding the integrity of exams and of the people who are moving to the next level.
Another question would be, why do you think developing countries such as Kenya have a hard time uptaking this curriculum as opposed to developed nations? In fact, some critics say that the curriculum is for developed nations, and if it is to succeed in African countries, then some aspects of the curriculum should be changed.
An educationist, I fought highly for the competency-based curriculum. One, because it builds and empowers learners according to their potential. It does not leave any learner behind, and it has a very individualized approach that you are able to start identifying the strengths of the learners from very early stages, and you are able to make them grow in that which they enjoy and that which they are thriving in. I hope that ultimately, as we continue in this a bit unclear journey of CBC, and it is going to become clearer as we move ahead, that we are going to be more positive, and the gaps where we started from, like in terms of the stakeholders engagement, we can become more participatory so that everyone can really understand what CBC is really about. The parents can understand their roles, because I think the parents don't seem to understand their roles, and the schools can also realize that home is not an extension of school. I think there is also that mismatch where now schools, to some extent, children feel like home has become an extension of the school, and the parents are feeling like they have become teachers. I think the minute we are able to understand the gaps and we bring the interventions which are there, for me, CBC will take us beyond the Vision 2030, and our children are going to thrive. Yeah.
Thank you very much for taking the time to elucidate this issue regarding the new curriculum. Remember, you can reach us through our social media handles. On Facebook is at Daily Truth, on Twitter is at Daily Truth, and our Instagram is at Daily_Truth. According to the East African Civil Society for Sustainable Energy and Climate Action, Kenya is on the road to 100% renewable energy. This is fueled by the need to have clean energy through channels like development and distribution of clean cook stove. One such is the cocoa stove, as our reporter Aaron Kituku tells us.
Kenya has 70% of its population relying on the traditional methods of cooking such as charcoal, kerosene and firewood. This is, however, slowly changing as low and middle income households adopt clean energy cook stoves that have proven to be cheap and environmental friendly. One such cook stove that is becoming increasingly popular is the cocoa stove, which is a bioethanol fuel that reduces environmental air pollution by eliminating the production of toxic fumes. We met up with Kerubo, a mother of two in the outskirts of Nairobi, who recently bought the cook stove.
Kwa majina mimi naitwa Fanis Kerubo kutoka Desta. Mimi niliamua tu kununua koko sababu tu ya kusave tu pesa za mafuta taa. Hata wewe unasaidianga, hata utaweza fili tu na 50 bob ukitaka kuweka tu mafuta na itamaliza kama wiki mbili hivi. Sasa nikaamua hizo pesa ningekuwa nanunua mafuta taa, nitaweza weka tu kusave mahali. At least inanisaidia sana. Na kuweka kwake haina moshi.
Additionally, with as little as 30 Kenya shillings, one can make a refill of the ethanol fuel from selected stores across the country. Reporting for Daily Truth, my name is Aaron Kituku.
Rights groups across the country are calling for justice for the death of Sheila Lumumba, a 25-year-old who identified herself as part of the LGBTQ community in the country. Our reporter Raphael Mutuku with more.
On Thursday evening, residents of Karatina town were shocked to see the body of Sheila Adhiambo Lumumba, who was found dead in her apartment after failing to show up for work for 3 days. It is believed that the deceased was murdered by 6 men due to her sexual orientation, where she identified herself as part of the queer community in the country. According to the autopsy results that were shared by the family to a friend of the deceased, Sheila was raped, strangled, and her legs were broken by the perpetrators. This incident causing uproar on social media and rights groups such as Amnesty Kenya calling for justice for Sheila. In their Twitter handle, Amnesty says, and I quote, "No one deserves such cruel treatment. Sheila did not deserve to experience all this pain. We are standing in solidarity with the family of Sheila Adhiambo during this trying moment, and we shall follow up with the case until justice is delivered." End of quote. This is, however, not an isolated case, as media personality McKenna highlighted on her Instagram page the death of Erica, who was transgender here in Nairobi and is believed to be murdered due to her sexual orientation. With these cases, Kenyans are beginning to question the rights of the queer community in the country. Reporting from Daily Truth, I am Raphael Mutuku.
My name is Glenn Adolwa Madigu. About the issue at hand, like what the guys did to the girl was so unfair. Like it was not like haifai kufika hiyo point, as in it's the 21st century. Anyone can choose
his or her sexuality. As in, we are open, tunafaa to agree as a society. I know as Africans tumekuwa locked to like this is the way things are supposed to go, but I don't think it's the way forward. As in, for us tunafaa tukue open to allow like other girls to follow like what they think and follow their feelings, as in, because we're in the 21st century. I mean, like, it's not fair for what they did to the girl.
My name is Imelda Mugambe, and my opinion concerning Sheila's death, that was the most unfair, inhuman thing that I have come across. The comments, I don't understand how someone, sorry to say, in their right mind could think like that and do something like that to someone, because what if it was you being abused, and like, it's too much. And I'd really hope for our society to become better in how they handle situations. And really, man, like, that was bad. Everything concerning that story was really bad, and I hope those men are really rot in jail or something.
Following that story about Sheila Lumumba's death, I am joined by Gathoni Karanja, who is an advocate of the High Court, in a discussion on what the Constitution provides regarding the rights of the LGBTQ community. Thank you for joining me, Advocate Gathoni Karanja. So, what does the law say about the LGBTQ right? That is, the lesbian, gay, bisexual, and transgender rights.
Thank you for inviting me for the interview. One, the LGBT persons in Kenya face legal challenges experienced by non-LGBT residents. I'll term it like sodomy is a felony per section 162 of the Penal Code, and it's punishable by law by 14 years imprisonment, since it is a sexual practice for the same gender. Now, when our penal code defines sodomy, or defines same-sex marriages as illegal, and that is it's a felony under our country. Therefore, these people face discrimination, and it's a gross indecency in our country, as I may term it, because it is not acceptable by our constitution. Culturally, all the peoples in our country have not embraced this kind of residence within ourselves. Nevertheless, these people are Kenyans, they are human beings, and as much as the non-LGBT residents are we are under the same constitution, that is the law of our country that governs people, they also govern in the same constitution, because they have their rights just as other Kenyans, and therefore they are not entitled to discrimination and such other sort of things.
When you say that the law is silent, what do you really mean when you say that?
When it is stated that the Constitution is silent about the same-sex marriage, this means that the Constitution does not provide for that. What the Constitution provides for is highlighted, or it is written in the Constitution. But what is not written in the Constitution, it is, I would say it is unconstitutional, because the Constitution does not provide for it. Yes.
For the perpetrators of Sheila's death, what then should happen to them?
Being an LGBT community, as I had stated earlier, they should enjoy the same rights as other citizens. They should not be discriminated. And therefore, those who killed, or those who are involved in that act of committing that crime, I as much as she was an LGTB, she had equal rights as any other person who is not an LGTB. Therefore, the perpetrators of that act, if found, they should be charged And if charged and found guilty, they should be sentenced as per the law. Because Article 26 of the Constitution says that every person has the right to life. No any citizen has the right to take the life of another. Because life is sacred, it is only God himself who is supposed to take away life from anybody. But any other citizen killing another citizen for allegations that she or he was gay or lesbian or something, that is totally illegal, and those perpetrators are totally guilty if found so.
Lastly, what is your personal opinion on this matter?
In my opinion, I feel that as much as our constitution does not recognize this kind of same-sex marriages, I feel that this is a life that one has chosen to live. This is a life that one has chosen to move on with. And this being a country that people have freedom of expression, freedom of movement, freedom of expression, and freedom of everything that is fundamental to them, I feel that if that is the path you've chosen to follow, then it's upon you to take the responsibility of where your acts will take you to. And I feel that if, to me, I may feel it's better, to another person it's good, or to another person it's even worse, but my view, the society's view, and the laws, and our constitution's view, or our laws' view differ, and we all have different views. And therefore, people, and again, this thing depends on maybe the type or the kind of environment you're in, the kind of people you're interacting with, the kind of upbringing that you came up with, and you end up being such residents of maybe the LGBT, and maybe even you were not brought up like that, but in the course of your life, as you moved on in the course of your life, you met with friends, peer groups, and you were able to get into that thing, and you got into that addiction, because I call it an addiction. Just like the way people smoke bang, you can't take them today and you tell them to leave smoking bang tomorrow. It's a process that we need to come reconstruct our sisters and brothers, those who are LGBT. If they have a chance to change, well and good. If they are able to continue, then just continue, because that is the path they have chosen. That is my opinion.
Thank you very much for joining me on this broadcast. Remember, the conversation doesn't end here. You can reach us on our socials, which is on Facebook is at Daily Truth, Instagram is at daily_truth, Twitter is at Daily Truth. Remember, I have been your presenter, Diana Nyambura Gikonyo.